Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. And yes, I know it's been a while since I posted anything regarding Watch or Realms. I am still playing the game. It's not as involved as I used to in terms of doing day to day stuff, but at least in my global account, yes, I set it to farm. I get together with the fellows, do GBG attacks. We try to do the kind of the requirements that I need to keep up a good account going, right? But I haven't really devoted a lot of time into Watcher ROMs lately, and it is apparent based on my publishing schedule so far with the game. I will say though that as of right now, there are other ventures that I am pursuing. So I do have a second channel, and that's where I'm spending my time right now. Whatever free time I'm able to get, I do spend it trying to get that content developed and trying to get into a groove with the new game. So there are other opportunities that are opening up out there. Now, in regards to this channel, I'm still going to try to keep it Watcher Realms specific, but there are other things coming on the pipeline that I do see possibly leaking into the channel or incorporated into the channel as well as Watcher Realms. We'll see how you all feel about it, but as of right now, I'll say we'll keep the channel Watcher Realms centric, but eventually down the line, I think that as I evolve in terms of my interaction with Watcher Realms in other games, that the channel might change a little bit. But we'll see. We will see what direction the game takes here in the next 3 months or so before we make a major decision on what I am actually going to be doing content on, right? Now, the other reason that I wanted to publish a video is just to give you my thoughts on the recent update and just have a little bit of a discussion on some of the things that I'm seeing, right? Good, bad, ugly. So let's try to define some of this stuff. The first thing that I wanted to cover, because there have been a couple of updates that have rolled out here in the game, at least in Forerunners account. There have been patches that have rolled out that I haven't really covered, but I am keeping in mind. I mean, I am kind of keeping track and record of all of this stuff. So the first thing that I wanted to touch on was this new content, the new boss in the Titanic ruins, the Matrix 1, and why I really didn't publish any content on it. And I can tell you, at least from my initial impression and the review that I wanted to turn in, is that this here right now is immensely out of tune. It is really going to be difficult to progress in it with the roster that we currently have in game. All right, there are certain mechanics right now within the boss that it is really hard to keep your tank alive. Even if you bring in a Cornelia and another healer and you try to mitigate the damage as much as you can, it's not going to pan out. That tank goes, everybody around that tank goes as well. So I think that getting all the top chest, at least for this content here, is going to take a while. And I will be surprised if anybody in the global server tries even to get remotely close to 240. All right. It is immensely overtuned to the degree that I think that the developers are going in a direction here where they are going to be releasing a patch of heroes that is going to be specific for this content. So you're going to have to get ready to, in a way, chase that new roster in order for you, the end gamer, to be able to get this done. And moreover, anything I would have shown in this content here, regardless of what this chests demonstrate here and the possibilities of you getting the type of rewards, for you to get the top, it's going to, as of right now, it's going to take an immense account to do it. All right. Not only that, I mean, you can spend the time to try to go through all of this, set up a roster that requires you to gear 20 separate heroes, and to make sure that everybody is locked in before you even click fight. Because once you click a fight, you can't adjust any of the rosters. You have to make sure that everything is set right now. And at least from my understanding, there is a bug right now where it's really not saving the gear. So hopefully they fix that before it rolls out to the global server. So I think that eventually, with all the content that is being released, it is really being focused to a small fraction of the player base. Okay. And your guild must beat Apocalypse 2 in order for you to be able to unlock this mode. So if you're struggling with Apocalypse 2, it's going to, I mean, you could try to get the first chest just to get some rewards out of this, but the way that they have developed this, it is clear. It is clear which avenue they're going for, and that they're going to be heroes that you're going to need, possibly even Awaken 3 or 5 to push this content. It's essentially what this is driving towards. All right. So that was my first one. I was not impressed with this content at all. All right. And it shouldn't be a surprise to me because everything that they have released over the last year or two has been overtuned. They have purposely released it so you have to chase the awakenings, the limited heroes, everything for you to then be able to get it into the top, right? To get to the end game. And the stamina restriction is not helping either, especially when it comes to try to get gear that you might need or to get those keystones that you're going to bring into Malrek to try to then augment your gear. So it is not something that I see as favorable in terms of the development of the game. The second thing that I wanted to focus on is in regards to Guild Wars. So this batch here, they have said that they're going to be releasing a new batch of Demon Soldiers. All right. And so at least now you in the global server have been able to understand now to really get an idea that everything that we've done over the last year and a half in terms of developing our accounts with Demon Soldiers have been kind of washed to the side, right? Most of the Demon Soldiers here that I have developed in my global account, I'm not using anymore. Everything is about the new Demon Soldier or this fellow here, right? I affectionately call him Kirby, but we know him as the Grotesque Fiend. Everything is surrounding him. There are still some units here that, yes, you're going to use. The Lightning Guards, the Templars are still kind of having their own thing. The Beholders are mainly used to feed the Grotesque Fiend, and the Spiders essentially is what it is. But they have really redefined as to how Guild Wars is structured right now. Not only that, they are changing the way that you are going to be able to attack the other guild, right? So in this update here, they're going to introduce something that is called the bot Stronghold. Essentially is for those guilds that really do not want to deal with it. And here's the other concern that I have is that they're making this available to guilds that may want to focus on GBG. They want to push hard on GBG. So they're giving avenues to some guilds to say, if you just want to hit this bot Stronghold and not really do damage to the other guild, go ahead and do it. It's an easy way out. At the same time, for those that are really competitive in it, they're giving you a whole new set of demons. So there's really just crunching defenses. Unless you have the heroes to build a strong defense right now, right? Because everything right now is either if you have Valera, that's the strong defense right now, is Valera. If you have Valera, you can form something strong around it. Erling, Nisa, kind of dominating that some. Of course, most of those defenses fall, but if you can pick up 2 or 3 wins with those heroes, I think you're doing very well. But that's essentially where everything is turning on. And Pradius still has kind of a chance, and that's why they brought a Pradius banner back on, because he is still kind of driving the Arbiter faction, especially with Valera. So in terms of everything that is going on within Guild Wars, it's all about now getting lucky in getting the new Demon Soldier so you can just crush the defense just as easily as you did before. And that's essentially what that's turning to. It's no longer about you having the axes anymore that were at level 7 or the daggers at level 7 anymore. It's all about that Grotesque Fiend and any captain unit that you're able to get. And the same thing is going to happen here with these demon soldiers. They're going to be able to dominate the field. And if you have them in your account, it's just going to be able to push in progression. Conversely, in the defensive side, it's all going to be about awakenings and the new heroes that are being released. So they gave you a problem with the Grotesque Fiend, and guess what? They sold you the solution. How did they sell you the solution? Well, they released a healer that is able to heal by vast amounts, provide damage reduction, and keep your tank alive if you build your tank well enough against the Grotesque Fiend. Monetization? I would say yes. That's exactly what they did here. Now, if we want to tie this whole thing, this whole hero thing into the monetization aspect of it, here's Kane. So at least from the brief play that I was able to get in the test server, and why I really didn't choose to make any content on him to show you or how he's even working, is because when it comes to damage for a fighter, he doesn't do a whole lot of damage. He's adequate, but he's not going to be a game breaker for you to push a Vis 1 or the new boss or Guild Wars for that matter. He's an Arborer. Yeah, it's just they're adding something to the ancient summoning pool, something to dilute the other heroes. It's expected. But what the one thing about him that is going to come into play is they don't want you using Siren anymore. So here is Kane. Here is a cost generator that you can now bring in to the field to speed up your placement of heroes for the worst content in the game. So if you want to push AoE Arena, sure, go chase the guy. Because they're not going to fix Arena. They don't care about fixing the tiers right now or the placement into Overlord. That is not their priority right now. Their priority right now is to sell you the freaking hero that you need to be able to grind the epic coins that you're going to need if you really want Lady Alexandra in your account. That's exactly what that's going. So, if anybody told you that Kane is good in any other facet of the game, I disagree. Because any other hero right now that you have in your roster, fighter-wise, can fulfill that distinction. But as a cost generator in a mode where he will do damage and replace the usage of an epic that everybody used, why not? They have already nerfed one epic that everybody was using in the arena, so why not eliminate another one from the whole content and just focus on the legendaries to push that content? So again, monetization, hey, why not? That is where the game is going. And finally, the other thing that I wanted to cover here is, as you saw me scroll through here at the beginning, is that they have announced, oh yes, thank you, Moonton. Anytime you give us free stuff, we should be thankful. But I do want to warn you about something, okay? Yes, they're going to give us the opportunity here to at least get an unpolished Soulstone. Based on math, it all depends on the drops of those specific shards, okay? So they're going to give us the opportunity to collect anywhere. Let me see here. Let me go into the Abyss chest if I can. So if I understood correctly, in terms of the shards, you can get anywhere between 2 and 4. You need to have both chests. So you need to, the guild needs to bring the boss down, right? Because it's on the second chest that you're going to get these fragments for the unpolished soulstone, or the shards. Let's call them the shards for the unpolished soulstone. And that is the thing. It's an unpolished soulstone. They're not giving you the legendary soulstone. No, it's an unpolished soulstone. It's something that you can use on whatever here is a non-lord to eventually give them an awakening, right? That's essentially what it is. So calculations that have been going on in my cluster have estimated that if you're really lucky, you can get it in 150 days. If you're really unlucky, you might have to wait 300 days before you can pop one of these. All right? Now, some of you may be saying, what's the big deal? We're getting a free freaking soulstone. Why do you have a problem with it, Sebastian? Here is the thing. All right. I'm going to take you back. And this is something that I really, really completely disagree with a lot of the content creators that were in that interview, because I don't think they pressed hard enough. All right. And There was no follow-up to it thereafter. They stuck their foot in their mouths when they told us that there was a pity for the Soulstones in game. Okay? The presenter might have leaked that out, and you could tell from the reaction from the person that was in the back as to how we're then going to be addressing the questions. And when those questions were being thrown at them, is that they essentially said, listen, we instituted it. We don't need to tell you when we did it, but it is there. And we do not need to tell you or express to you at all what the rates are or when it will kick in. And that was the major issue that I had with them. So in order to distract you, as you say, from even asking about them releasing the rates for each one of these drops, including the Soulstones, they are going to then just try to distract you and say, listen, we're throwing you here shards that you can keep track of, and eventually you will get one within a 6-month period or 9-month period, however you want to calculate this. This is what I've been pushing for mostly, is you have to express what the rates are here. For so long, they dragged their feet on actually explicitly stating what the rates were for the legendary heroes in the spirit of invocation. Then now, I think it is fair to say that we need to know what the rates are for each one of these. And that's exactly what I want to see. There are many games, RPGs, hero collectors that I have seen come out where they will give you the table of what the drop rates of each one of these resources are in each one of the chests. They might not be in game. They post them in their website. So the fact that Moonton does not want to release any of that information, that should always be sketchy to you. So yes, they're giving you a free Soulstone, but what are they trying to hide behind? Okay? That is my only thing that I have any beef around it, is that the one thing that we were chasing is to try to understand what the rates are for the drops for these two particular ones, so you can make an adequate calculation as to how many you should expect for account, and not have a great variability that some accounts are only getting 1 to 2 maybe a year, and some are so lucky that are busting 10 to 12. Something is wrong, all right? And they don't want to release that information. Now, in the dev interview said, most games don't release this information, but you have said you're not the average RPG. So why not do what other games are doing, especially when they have to conform to European laws? Now, in the United States, it's not applicable because there are no laws that explicitly say that every game has to release the odds for everything that they offer. But in the EU, in the European Union, there are. And some games have to disclosing the rate of those loot boxes. And that is something that I'm actually pursuing here, to see if there is an avenue to try to get games to disclose that, especially when it comes to games that are available in the Google Play Store and Apple iOS. So, in the whole scheme of these things, yes, they are going to give you the ability for you to track over time as to how many shards you're going to be able to get an unpolished Soulstone. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that they're giving you a Soulstone if you grind the game over a 6 to 9 month period. That is the good. The bad is that they don't want to release any of the information that we've been asking since that dev interview. What are the rates for each one of these resources for each one of the chests that you're making available? And here's the ugly. I want to know, okay, you're getting some shards for free, but at some point, folks, if they offered a $99 unpolished Soulstone during an anniversary, you guys are going to have to tell me as to where is going to be your limit. So here, let me go to the shop here. You're right here. You're going to have to know, you're going to have to tell me, where is the limit, right? Here in the Forerunners, you can see there are bundles now. They're offering you shards They're offering you shards for divine crystals, ancient crystals, and artifact essence. At what point are we going to expect for a little bundle that might have 20 shards for a soulstone here? What's going to be your limit? This is all now. We're entering a phase where a game that is struggling to bring in new players is going to try to monetize those that are still playing and those that are enthralled into the end game. And everything that we're seeing here is certainly pointing that direction, because in the end, that is what it's going to be all about. Trying to monetize the game heavily as much as possible before the decline. They are seeing it, you should see it, and anybody that is coming into the game is not going to have that easy avenue that we all had to get into the end game. So they're going to have to then spend to try to catch up, which, trust me, with most accounts now, especially at the top tier, the top 1%, those beginner accounts will never catch up. Not with all the restrictions that they added and how everything has now been changing in terms of new heroes, new content that requires a whole new batch of heroes, and all this stuff showing up. So you tell me, what's going to be your limit? Because they're definitely testing mine right now. And that is why I haven't been covering too much about this. Because in the end, it all leads to one direction. Thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. I hope to see you around in the future. I'll be around for sure, because somebody needs to call him out on this crap.